So let's bring him in now. North Regina boy, Benny Hebert, joining us from Calgary, looking sharp, lean, tight. How you doing, Benny?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
Good. So you got my dig in you there on the Grand Slam of curling being delayed, but it does suck. We had all those guys on the show here, Dunstone, Muskowee, Flash. It's not cool. They actually thought they were going to play in the fall. So what was your thoughts on when you guys would be starting up again?
Yeah, I thought we'd be playing in the fall for sure. I mean, when you see sports like the NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey, I mean, we're a pretty easy sport, you think, to get out there on the ice and play, right, with 4 people and keeping your tight little bubble. But you have to understand, I mean, I've been doing it for 15 years. Curling's an amateur sport. We don't have the millions and billions of dollars behind us to do testing every day and to keep everybody safe. And so this is a pretty serious time in the world, and I don't think anybody's an expert at it. Even the experts don't seem like experts. So I think they're doing the right thing, keeping it safe. It's really unfortunate for us. We'd love to get out there and play. And I think the actual playing of our sport on the ice, the sweeping, to the games, back and forth, etc. We can certainly, social distance or whatever you want to call it to be effective on the safe side. But we don't have the contingency plans like these other sports do and this perfect, airtight bubble to rent out Disneyland for 6 weeks. So hopefully it is just postponed, and I think we're going to roll here January. I think the tour looks like it can go start in October, but the Grand Slam canceling, there's a lot of things that go into it with television, staff, volunteers, all the people that you need in the building. It's a lot different than running a regular World Curling Tour event. So I'm hopeful we can get those off the ground, but as for the big TV events, it looks like January.
Well, that's tough, but I guess the good thing is you guys all do have second jobs. I'm all about silver linings right now, Benny, and that would be a big one for all you guys. At least you're still being paid, right? So look at the CFL players. How'd you like to be one of them right now? Haven't been paid since November. Like, somebody always has it worse in this pandemic. I'm sure you've seen that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been fortunate to have a great employer, for 15 years while I've curled. I've never just been a full-time curler. I know there is some guys out there like that, but, I know a lot of the Stampeders here in town, and not knowing where your next paycheck's coming from and having wives and kids at home certainly, can test the anxiety and stuff like that. I mean, when you're athletes, you're born to do something and you've only done one thing your whole life. It's hard to kind of turn it off and on. So, I feel for, everybody out there, people that have lost their jobs due to this, and then also the athletes. But, I'm thankful and really lucky that my employer is still rolling with me, and I can pay the bills for a few more months for sure.
Well, we do appreciate all that Brant's done for you guys and for all of us here that are associated with them. Ben, but here's the thing, by the way. Team Koe is going to be a contender every year, so that's cool. There's nothing new for you. But you've been watching what's been going on in Saskatchewan. A new generation of young studs, let's be honest with you, and the shifting between the teams, and you had Team Dunstone go to the third place game, semifinal last year at the Brier. Like, that's the real kick in the junk, frankly, for men's curling, because a lot of people were already turned on to it in this province, and a younger generation. That's what sucks. This was going to be a great year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I have super close ties with those guys, really good friends with Braden and Matt, and obviously curling with Colton the last 2 years, and my cousin Dustin Kidby plays lead on that team. So after we lost out of the Brier last year, I was certainly rooting hard for those guys. But I think, you certainly want to see the young teams develop, and for me, I got a few years left in me. I'd like to take advantage of those as well before I got to shut her down. So it kind of sucks for everything. Curling's a growing sport with, great sponsorship, awesome television exposure, a lot of good things going on in our sports with the Olympic Games. We like to build on that momentum and keep going. But, like you say, nobody really knows exactly what's going on out there. And I think, people are probably playing a little bit more, safe than sorry. I do think that we could move forward, especially in Canada, with where the cases are rarely tight. Like you look at Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba. We have 4.5 million people here, and what do we got? 200 and some cases. So, we're playing it pretty safe, but at the same time, there's people dying from this. So it's an important thing, and hopefully they come up with some answers soon.
Oh, for sure. And by the way, I saw Dr. Fauci on CNN this morning saying, well, we're learning as we go. And I'm like, oh, great. And how many careers and lives are ruined in the process? But You kind of said it there with the precautionary measures that we're taking here. Obviously, Claire Hanna was on here from CTV TSN saying maybe an all Saskatchewan tour, an all Alberta tour might be the way to go, but who knows? And let me ask you this, by the way. How much are you guys involved in the direction of curling? Do you have a say in what happens here, or is that just for the leaders of Curling Canada to decide?
Curling Canada sent out the memo about how to get back to curling in the club level, right? So, you and the wife want to go join your team with Darren there, and you guys grab your mixed leagues. There's things around that. But, for us to go play our World Curling Tour, it's not really much different than that. When we go to the big events, the Grand Slams, the Briers, the World Cup, sure, we get 4,000 to 8,000 fans, depending on the building. But, certainly for us to go play a World Curling Tour event, be in the building, stay out of the dressing rooms, keep your distance, 4 people at a table. While we're on the ice, there's no contact, as much as I wish there was half the time. I think that, we can certainly do that. It's more about logistics with television cameras, broadcast crews, volunteers, that kind of stuff. But I think for here, playing, for us driving to Saskey to play in the Saskatoon event or the Regina boys and Saskatoon guys to come to Alberta and we play Calgary, Medicine Hat, Red Deer. Guys, that's how I started. We didn't get, we weren't flying Air Canada all over the country. We were hopping in Pat Simmons' Suburban or his minivan that him and his wife had at the time. And we would drive to Russell, Manitoba and Bonnyville, Alberta and Yorkton and Weyburn. So for me, a little bit nostalgic, going back to my 20, 21-year-old tour days. And a lot of those guys that are getting going, talk about Dunstone's team. We're going to do that. And it's not all about just playing for the big money on TV. That's a nice little part of it to be able to do that. We're lucky in our sport, but to be able to go back and play on some club ice against some club teams, you're going to see some of the top teams lose, and I'll tell you that for sure. Some of those club teams are going to dust us with their soft little releases that we're not used to throwing. But, it'll be fun to do that again and, get back to that way of curling for 1 year, and then hopefully things turn around. But I think we're still going to have a good World Curling Tour here, something to build off of. And you want to stay sharp because the Brier looks like it's going to run here in March. And then obviously the Olympic trials next November in Saskatoon. So taking 18 months off or a year off your sport certainly isn't conducive to high performance. And, we're going to be playing one way or another. So we're hoping that the World Curling Tour gives us a thumbs up. And with Curling Canada's mandates that they put out there, I think we should be good to go.
Good to hear. Well, and that's the thing with, and you're a pro sport, but less is more. If it's smaller right now and that's what it takes to get back, I'm all for it too. I think that's cool for everybody. Do you have a take on the Stanley Cup playoffs? You're buddies with a lot of NHL players, probably none more so than Jordan Eberle, who's going to get it rolling with the Islanders. Is Calgary buzzing with the Stanley Cup playoffs around the corner?
Oh yeah, teams here, the boys here are pretty excited. I was lucky enough through ATB Financial, one of our sponsors. I was golfing with Gio just a couple weeks ago before they got thrown in their bubble. And he was saying him and the guys are on a big group text. They're buzzing to get going again. All the guys are coming back. They had to quarantine. Gio was actually supposed to golf with us this afternoon, but he couldn't. It was their first day of camp, and he's not allowed to see anybody outside of that. So, they're pumped, and I've been in Alberta long enough and in Calgary long enough that I've changed my ways down to the Flames fan, right? So I'm going hard for Calgary, but obviously, I kept in touch with Ebbs and was trying to get out with him around. He's back in New York now, quarantine, and they're getting rolling. So, I'm just, hey guys, I'm a sports fan. I know you guys are big sports fans. Anything that's coming back on TV here, NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball, cross our fingers, CFL, NFL. I'm going to be pumped. I've never been so excited to order a UFC and pay $70 this weekend to watch some live sports. So it's anything that comes back, I'm all for it.
Fight Island. But you know what? I was at a pool party and I didn't want to be rude and say, hey, can you put on the UFC? So I didn't say anything. Our intern, Alan, said it was a boring card. Was it worth the $75? What was your take of it?
Well, I thought the first 4 fights were great. The women's fights were awesome, but the championship fight was brutal. It was just kind of a wrestling match. But no, I thought the first four fights were good. I was having a vodka with my buddies here in Chestermere, and we were gambling on the fights online. So I had a great time. It was live sports. For me, I'm happy with that.
That's all right. What do you want? Expectations, right? All right, Benny. Thanks for this. Always good to see you. Stay healthy, and I hope next time we chat, you're getting ready for the season.
Okay, guys. Good luck. Take it easy.
Ben Hebert joining us from Calgary of Team Cooey. And I'm going to be on him every time about the Saskatchewan Rings.
No COVID.
Every time.
No COVID-15 on him, though.
He's always ripped. I don't know. But something about athletes, I've called them the Tiger Woods of curling. They get older and they get more serious about their training.
Yeah. Well, they
It's the truth.
but they can get away with it when they're younger. And then they realize it's more and more important, right?
Exactly.
And you got to take care of it.
You know, Mike Phoenix writes in, one of our viewers, and he says, how come EA Sports hasn't made a curling game? EA Briar 21, it's in the game. I think that would be fun.
I think it would be
And
awesome.
actually, there's a lacrosse game, isn't there? There's a lacrosse game for EA Sports that's just come out. And I think what I heard was the connection was one of the owners and the NLL had a connection to EA Sports. It was an inside job, if you will.
Sure.
But here's the problem with Canada that people just don't understand. While we do have 36 million people, that's not 300 million people. And how many curling EA Sports are you going to sell?
That's the point.
That's the problem.
Because to do it right, it's very expensive.
Yes.
To get all of the players in there, the graphics, all the new... Like, there are so many nuances to the game of curling. And to have that all incorporated into a video game is expensive. You better sell a lot of copies. And not just in the United States, overseas. Yeah. So you better have a lot of curling fans worldwide that are going to buy this copy. Or somebody who's friends with EA Sports that's going to write a big check.
Like the NLL. So speaking of NLL, I've got NLL news coming up. And I want to now dig deep into the CFL talk of where we are going and if they will play and what my thoughts are. Talked to a lot of guys over the weekend, so hang on. We'll get into the CFL talk when we come back. And the rest of the Quick Six Show topics. It's the RP Show across North America on Game Plus TV Network and watching and listening around the world on the Rod Peterson Broadcasting Network.
You're watching Rod Peterson On Demand. For more of The Rod Peterson Show, visit rodpeterson.com or follow Rod Peterson on social media.